Crosby going for goal number 500 tonight. And who but the Philadelphia Flyers would make a better opponent for that? 7:08 p.m. puck drop at PPG Paints Arena. Headlines powered by Bowser, Pittsburgh's Chevy dealer. Also brought to you by the super low home equity rate at Dollar Bank. Visit dollar.bank, equal housing lender.
The Cook and Joe Show is back. Sports Radio 93.7, The Fan.
Oh, yeah. 12 years ago today, this all happened, Ron. The station opened to this.
The Fan Morning Show with Paul Alexander, John Burton, and Jim Colony.
Took him 45 seconds to write this song.
Midday, Vinny and Cook. Afternoon drive, Cyber and Starkey.
In the parking lot fighting within a year.
Nighttime with Greg Giannotti. Late nights, Andrew Filippiani. Taking us into the third shift will be Chris Mueller.
That's your winner.
Yeah, 12 years ago today.
That's your winner right there.
12
Chris Mueller.
years ago today. You believe we're still here after 12 years?
Some people didn't think this enterprise would last 12 months. Maybe
We've
not
become
12
an
days.
empire here. And you know, you and I looked it up. I'd forgotten. It seems like we've been together for 200 years. It's such a struggle to come in here every day to work with you. You know how long it's been? It's only been 3.5 years.
That's actually a long time.
We'll hit our 4-year anniversary, if we're lucky, on Labor Day weekend this year.
So did you spend more time with Vinny, Pony, or me so far?
Well, it's been pretty much even. I think it was 4 years with Vinny and maybe a little longer with Filipponi, and now you. You're still. We're growing towards it.
And we're growing closer.
We're
I would
growing
say.
close. We tried to hug this morning in our pre-show. We just couldn't do it. Yeah.
And I hear it's your second anniversary wedding.
Your second
Happy
anniversary
birthday.
wedding.
We celebrate you today.
It's your
Happy
second
birthday,
anniversary
boy.
wedding. Happy birthday.
I'm 6, but where does it go? 12 years ago today.
I can't believe it. What do you remember about being in the bullpen in day one
Well,
before
you know
the
what?
before
I
the
act-
curtains went up?
I actually came in and was here. I think Paul Alexander uttered the first words.
Did he?
Yeah, he brought the show in after that rousing song by Joe Grishecki. I was sitting up in Michael Young's office. He was the general manager then. It was his idea to make the transformation to make this a sports show. And our program director then, Terry Fox, was in there. And I remember sitting in there and just couldn't believe that it was starting and that I was going to be a part of it again, because I worked for Michael Young at KDKA for 9 years, and then I got blown out of the water by 9/11, and I never thought he'd call me back, and called me back and said, "You want to be a part of this? We think it's going to be big," and I did, and the rest is history.
Appreciate the time, Horse.
12 years later.
Oh boy. Hold on a second here while I
You're
gather
tearing
myself.
up. You're tearing up a little bit over there. Or
I
what?
am. How long has Horse been your compatriot, your leader, your inspiration and muse?
Well, he was off and on. He was with us, and he begged to get away from us.
Horse, you were here on day one, weren't you? You were here on day one.
Correct.
Where'd you come from? How'd you get the job? What were you doing before this?
Working for the Pirates.
What? What were you doing there?
I was in customer service.
Ron?
No wonder they've had some hard times over the years.
Exactly. Would you buy a ticket from that man?
I wouldn't do anything with that guy. I have to work with him every day, and I hate
So,
that.
Customer service.
It was
Somebody
actually,
would call if they had a
People would
bad night at the
complain
ballpark?
to you?
Pretty much. I was I dealt with season ticket holders. It was a position called client service specialist. So I basically served the needs of season ticket holders.
So what would be a typical complaint or perhaps a memorable story?
What typical complaint would be like the food was bad, or there was a long wait to get in, or there was a problem with the seats, or something like that.
Now, you strike me as a very nice man. Don't get me wrong. I think I'm a nice man. But when I was in customer service,
What about me? Don't I get included in the conversation?
you're beyond us spiritually. So this is about me and Horse because we were both in customer service. I don't know that you ever were you?
I was. Well, no, never.
Horse and I had to deal with the public, and I, for one, didn't deal with them very well. I worked at the first Brugger's Bagels in Pittsburgh. It opened in Squirrel Hill maybe in '93. I was a bagel cook and a customer service person, counter person, you might call me. And it didn't go well, Horse. I didn't deal with people very well. And you strike me as a man who, on a given day, might not either. Where the customer's always right, they're actually mostly wrong.
Overly friendly and very helpful.
You believe that, Ron?
Yeah, he's a nice gentleman. A man who is gentle, as you like to say.
The customer is often wrong, is actually the truth about that.
It is, but you have to go the other way, right?
Well, you try, but it doesn't always work out that way. What's the biggest deal here today, Ron? Sid's 500th goal pending, Jaromir Jagr's 50th birthday, or the station is 14 years old?
Well, you've already made us 2 years older than we are.
12 years old.
We're not 14 yet.
Again and 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 again.
At least
now, what
age
emotion
right.
does that evoke in you? How does your body react to that? Forget
Vinny.
your brain.
My man, Vinny. You know what? I love Vinny as a person. We had our moments working together, but he's a great man, and
yes.
I say that with, all sincerity. He's a lot nicer man than I am, and got to see him in Seattle a year or so ago. Took my daughter and I took him out to dinner. We had a blast, but it was an interesting time with him, like when he gave his cell phone number out on the air. If you want to call the station to talk to us, call whatever the area code was in Seattle. He gave us.
Did people
Hey, listen,
call?
I've had teams rub my belly for good luck.
Oh, my God. I remember when he said that, too. I do.
Horse, you know what Horse has been better at than anybody at the station?
What's that?
Somehow salvaging things from the early days when most of it was gone in what was the equivalent of a house fire here. Where does he come up with this?
Well, I think he saved what he wanted and then uses that as an excuse.
He's a genius to
Yeah.
come up with that.
Yeah.
The belly rubbing.
Oh, I remember that day too. Oh man, 12 years ago.
What
So-
what were we talking about 12 years ago today? I
Well,
think like
the Super
Olympic
Bowl
hockey
The
was
Super
the only
Bowl
thing.
had just ended.
It had
too,
just ended,
a
right.
week or two before.
Right, but there was really, I remember saying, what are we going to talk about? Hockey's on an Olympic break. There is no football. It's obviously not baseball season. Like what?
Well, it was baseball season. You know what? Today's the 15th of February. I just saw something online. Today is the day pitchers and catchers are supposed to report.
Well, yes.
And they're not going to this year because of the fight over the basic agreement, but I think they probably were just going to camp right around then. Now, that was 2010.
Yes, like
Pirates
I said, there
were-
was nothing to talk about.
And when Hurdle's first year was 11, right? 11 and 12, they were pretty good. Yeah, I mean, Olympic hockey probably. That was when Sid scored the golden goal,
Yes, it was.
right?
I think.
Considered one of
yeah.
the it was 2010 in Vancouver. Considered one of the greatest goals in hockey history, certainly in Canada.
Well, that's a wonderful segue, Ron, and how are you today, by the way? Do you feel nostalgic today?
I am. I always do. I always enjoy the anniversary day, and it's always fun, and I'm feeling good. I'm really looking forward to the hockey game tonight. I just have this feeling that Sid's going to do it tonight against that opponent.
So do I.
And I think it's going to be – I want to be there. I'm going to be there. I think it's going to be fun. So I'm in a really good spot today, Joe. How about you? Even though you tried to ruin it with that hug idea, we just couldn't pull it off.
I'm happy today. That's
No,
a good word
no
to describe
pistachio latte today.
me. No.
You
I
couldn't do it
can't-
2 days in a row?
I can't go back to caffeine addiction. I can't. Now, we'll see how the rest of the day goes. If you raise my level of anxiety and I have to reach for some sort of substance to come,
Chances are I probably will.
come back down, then maybe I will. But right now, Ron, I'm off caffeine, and I'm excited about the day. Very excited to be working with you. I never thought or dreamed that this would be possible when the station opened. Did you? Who would have thought they'd reshuffle to me and you?
Who'd have thought we'd last this long?
Who else
You
has
could have
lasted
been
this
beaten
long?
to death in the parking lot here that very first year.
It almost happened.
That's what I said. You could have been.
You and Vinny had some dust-ups, though, didn't you?
Not quite to the parking lot level.
Who else is here from the beginning? Pony, Filippiani, Mueller, Cook, Joe,
Jeff Hathorn.
Jeff Hathorn,
I think that's it.
who has had a continuous stay. And Horse,
And
we can't forget about Horse.
I think I am now, since Colony has gone, semi-retired, whatever the heck he's doing, I think I'm the only one in my original spot.
That's absolutely true. Yes.
Hathorn was program director back then. He still is, I guess, but he wasn't on the air on a time slot basis. But everybody else that's still left has been shuffled around.
That's right. And here we are, 12 years later.
And I'm happy with the shuffling because you are a true pro and a legend in the business, both newspapers and radio, I might add.
Thank you, Ron. Well, that brings us to Sidney Crosby. Of course, we've already started the Sidney Crosby talk. He's going for goal number 500.
Was that his best goal, the golden goal? Who
Yes,
was the other
maybe.
guy in Canada that had the big one?
Paul Henderson,
Yeah. That was in a World Cup.
72. Yeah.
Crosby's goal in Canada to beat the United States in overtime, in Vancouver, no less,
Yes.
I think has to be his greatest goal. And I remember watching that entire game. I wrote about it afterwards. He had not had a good tournament, and he was captain of the team. And if they somehow would have lost the gold medal, he would have taken a beating up there. Instead, he scores the game winner, and he is an absolute hero ever since. That to me is his greatest goal.
Yeah, I
even
would
though
agree.
it wasn't with the Penguins.
I would agree.
What's your favorite Penguins goal?
Well, let's talk about that, shall we? Let's talk about your favorite 3 Sidney Crosby goals. And if you want to join the fray here, it's 412-928-9370. That's his most legendary goal. It is. I don't know that that's arguable. But let's go with yours, Ron. Why me first? You go with your favorite, your 3 favorite Sidney Crosby goals. Not his greatest ones.
Right.
No, it's subjective. Your favorite 3.
Well, I mean, beating Buffalo in the Outdoor Winter Classic. You were there, right?
Yes, I was.
Perfect conditions. Just such a sense of drama that he did that. And I guess my other one, and I wrote about it today, I saw the replay where Darian Hatcher tried to take his face off twice.
Yes.
Knocked his teeth out. He's bleeding from his mouth, and he's moaning to the officials. I had forgotten he got an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for moaning with the officials, and that's when the fans and Hitchcock, the Flyers coach, called him a whiner and a diver, and the Philly fans have never let up on him.
Right.
Yet he came back and scored the winning goal in overtime, and the joy on his face was incredible that day. Minus the 2 teeth, didn't seem to bother him much. And then the other one was when he came back from missing all those games against the Islanders, when he scored in his first game back and comes around the boards to the right and does the clenching of his fists, and he goes, bleep, yeah! You can just hear him scream and feel the joy. Those are my 3 favorites, 4 favorites, I guess.
Great picks, and they're mine. 2 of them, anyway. Mine go 3-2-1 like this. 3 is a goal that I don't think gets talked about enough. And it was in Tampa Bay in Game 6 in the first Sully Cup run. And it was Sid splitting their defense to make it 3-0. Just an unbelievable goal at the end of the second period. And they would come back with 2 Brian Boyle goals, believe it or not. 2 of them to make it 3-2. So that goal went a long way toward the Penguins winning and was just an artistic thing of beauty. That's 3. Number 2 is the one you mentioned, Darian Hatcher. I was at the waterfront with a buddy of mine, Chris Danaher, watching the game. I forget what restaurant. And that goal signified at that time that this wasn't just going to be like, a skillful superstar in the NHL that you couldn't touch and that didn't have the toughness that came with it. He got 2 of his front teeth busted in half by Hatcher. And then he scored that breakaway goal in overtime. You described it well. Just that toothless or half-toothed smile, and just like a blank you to the Flyers, which is why it would be so fitting tonight for him to score against them.
He's hated them ever since.
Yeah.
They've hated him ever since.
Yes, and it was just very clear, wow, this guy isn't just a pretty boy superstar. He's something way more than that. The guy got his teeth broken in half, Ron, and came back and beat the Flyers, and that was great. It was so simple.
And I don't think, Joe, people realize the pressure that was on him coming in. He was so hyped. You know, that ping pong ball. I remember I was at the arena when they won that ping pong ball, and he came in with so much hype.
Yeah.
Probably, I mean, a little more than maybe even than Mario, because I think social media had started back then, if I remember correctly. Maybe it has. And Mario certainly came in with hype. But you got to live up to that pressure. And that right there showed to me this kid has a chance to live up to that pressure.
Yes.
He just did, and has not stopped ever since.
What's
What's number one?
Well said. Number one is the Winter Classic goal.
Buffalo goal. You were there, right?
Yes, and if the NBC scriptwriters could have written it, it's exactly how it would have been planned.
Do you
in
remember
the
talking
snow,
to him afterwards?
Yeah, the snow
what
falling
you wrote?
like a snow globe. I don't remember what I wrote. I think just that it was the perfect ending to the NHL's first Winter Classic game, the first one on U.S. soil anyway, and in my hometown, and you couldn't have asked for more. Like I said, the setting was incredible, a light snow falling, snow piled up on the ice against a really good goalie, Ryan Miller, who would come back in for that other goal too, where
Right.
Sid beat him for the golden goal.
Yes, it was.
And just the way he scored, and you could hear him yell after he scored, and teammates pouring on the ice. It was just epic.
Do you remember who set him up on that breakaway? I believe it was Ryan Malone.
Was it?
I believe.
I didn't remember. No.
I believe it was Ryan Malone.
No, wait, that was a shootout goal.
No. I'm talking about. I'm sorry. I'm going back to the Flyers game when Hatcher took his teeth.
Oh,
out.
that goal, yeah.
That was. No, it was a shootout goal. You're right. I just was talking about a different game.
Ryan Malone set him up.
You know,
Yes,
Sid
for
in that
one.
game, they won 3-2. He also had a goal and an assist in that game. He had a 3-point night in that game, topping it off with that goal. And ever since, you know, you've been back there so many times, Philly. Those fans are animals there. They're the worst fans in sports for me that I've ever seen up close and personal. They're vicious. The stuff they wear, the T-shirts they wear, they're just vicious people. And he loves it. He just thrives on it. And that day, I think he loved that goal. That would have to be high on his list, I would think.
It's interesting you say that. I mean, I think he does thrive on it, Ron, but right before you said that, I was going to say people have sort of made light of that in the past. And I remember Sid sitting there one day and saying it's not like enjoyable to be in that. Something to that effect. And yet, when he goes in there, he's juiced up. You know what I mean?
More goals against them than any other opponent. Second most points against them. I think he has a couple more against the Islanders in his career. But he just dominates them. Beat him in 3 out of 4 playoff series. I'm sure the one that he didn't beat him in, that was the Laviolette calling Claude Giroux the best player in the world. I was there that day.
Yes.
I'll never forget that. That was, and I could still see Dan Bylsma clenching his teeth. You know, we'd like to congratulate the Flyers. Killed him to say that.
He was lucky he didn't get fired after that series. So how many players have had 500 goals? 45.
46. He's 46th on the scoring list. He will become the 46th to do it.
He would tie Lanny McDonald, one of the great mustaches of all time, with 500.
And 3
then
behind the great Joe Mullen.
Joe Mullen, Jean Beliveau, Gilbert Perreault. I wouldn't think of Sid as a classic goal scorer, as a pure goal scorer, but he's a great goal scorer who does it in many, many different ways. A master at the art of deflections, great backhand.
Probably the best backhand in the league, right?
One of the greatest of all time on the backhand. The one-timer down on one knee, I think about. Breakaways. One of my other favorite Sid goals was the shootout winner against Montreal. It was the first year of the shootouts. First shootout for the Penguins at home in the history of their franchise. And he went in and popped one off the water bottle on a backhand, and it was phenomenal.
Now,
That's one of my
He is a
favorites.
hockey player. He is not a goal scorer. Ovechkin is a goal scorer. Sid is a hockey player. Look at the points he has. He's 26th on the all-time point list. I think he's tied with Johnny Busick, 26. He is such a creator and a distributor. And some of my other, I mean, there's so many spectacular goals you can't even remember them. But I mean, how many times have you seen him bank it off the goaltender
Yes.
from behind the net?
He had the one-handed goal in San Jose.
And the batting, you know, he's batted a couple out of
Right.
the air like a home run hitter.
Yes.
The hand-eye coordination is just so incredible. But he's, to me, not the pure goal scorer. He's the pure hockey player.
Yes. And yet, you know, you don't think necessarily of Gretzky as a pure sniper goal scorer, but found a million different ways to score. This
He
guy's
did it
going
both ways, yeah.
This guy's going to finish with 600 goals. Sid is probably, I don't know, 650 if he plays till he's almost
It's just,
40. So he's going to wind up as one of the great goal scorers. How? Because he's so smart and can do it in so many different ways.
right.
You know?
Yep, I know. I would love to see him get it tonight, and he's been really pushing for it. I counted up his shots the last 3 or 4 games. He's taken 5 or 6 shots. He doesn't usually take that many shots. You can tell he wants to get it over and get it behind him.
This feels
But
like it was meant to be
It
tonight.
does. I don't think it was what he planned, but
No.
it sure feels like it. You know, but any other night, like, you know, when he does other stuff to help you win, had a couple of assists against Jersey. The game before against Ottawa, didn't he block a shot late, went down on all fours to block a shot?
Yes, he
I don't
did.
know. I don't know if you want to see him do that in a game against Ottawa in February, but that's just the competitive nature of him. He's always going to do that stuff.
So he's got the Flyers tonight. If it doesn't happen tonight, he can stick it to the Leafs in Toronto on Thursday night.
Right.
Now, how many fans do they? They're also limited.
Yeah, Canada had like 500, right?
And then he's got Carolina here and Jersey here. How
Get it-
about
get
how about
it-
do it tonight,
get
Ron?
it
Can you
tonight.
make that happen? You're going to be at the rink?
I will be at the rink, poised to watch
It's
it.
going to happen tonight.
I hope so.
What would be the most fitting way for it to happen? Let's talk about that next, and also your favorite or couple favorite Crosby goals, just from your personal collection.